Welcome. Hi, this is Carol from Skill Check. Today I'd like to talk about how you can avoid that rocking chair management mentality. So right now, what we're seeing, and in fact, I was just on the phone with a gentleman in the South, and he was very friendly and very nice, but we talked about how his store was doing. And there was tons of activity. You could see that he had lots of move-ins, move-outs. The store was doing well in that sense. It was like 99% occupied. But what was happening to this gentleman is he was sitting there in this rocking chair, and there's lots of activity and energy going on, but no progress. He didn't see any, well, I didn't see any rent increases going on for, and especially I'm like, was this the deal you might have that you don't go up for a year or 2 years or 4 years? Because I couldn't find anyone that they were going up on in price. And it said, especially in this environment, why wouldn't you be increasing your rates when especially other people are increasing everything, like the locks are more expensive, our people are more expensive. So everything that's happening right now is causing inflation. But he needs to catch up from 10 years ago. But what I worry about here is that you don't just sit there and rock the store in that same income and let that income go away. Because if you sit there at the same rates forever, and I think there's some managers that are very proud of that. They're like, oh, yes, we haven't had a rent increase in 5 years. I don't think that's a positive. And especially when you look at the property and that it's run down, it's not kept up well as far as just even cleanliness, much less the things that they need to be fixed around the property. I noticed one gentleman I talked to recently is like, yeah, that gate doesn't work very often. It's off and on, so we just roll the gate open so people can get in and out. And I think customers, when they think, okay, hey, they've got a gate that only the customers get into, that's good for them, and they don't like to see it when it's not fixed. Well, but then again, they're not going up on the rates either. So, there is one place to look that's going to give you this information, and that's really the economic occupancy of the store. And the economic occupancy of the storage property, it's really the true occupancy based on the monthly income. And let me give you an example of that. I'm going to show you these reports here. This is a sample of a management report. So when you're looking at this, it says potential versus actual rent activity. They're at 98. This company's at 98.9% occupied. They have 515 rented and 521 complete, at the property. So they're really highly occupied. But look at the potential total rent is 73,000 is what they should be making, but what they are making is 57, 8, 60, 14, which that starts out at $1.10 per square foot, and it's really they're getting 87 cents per square foot. But the deviation amount, or what I would call the economic occupancy, would be it's really only bringing in money as if it was 78.59%. And if you had a manager that was sitting there and you said, hey, you're at 78%, I'd like to see this get up a little higher. Well, the fact is that they believe that what their goal is to be rented percentage wise. The number of units rented should be the highest it could be. I would love to see everyone all the managers and owners start focusing on the income and not worry so much about what the actual percentage is of the occupancy, because that can be deceptive. Obviously, in this case, if I said, and I did say to the owner, you're really only 78% occupied. And he's like, really? Yeah, you're bringing in money as if you're 78.59% occupied. And look at the non-standard rents. 491 people aren't paying the standard rent, which to me says that that's a lot, especially when you only have 500, is almost every customer's getting some kind of discount, which for them is totaling up to 14,000 just for those non-standard rents. So it's so important to, as a manager, to really learn to read and understand and to interpret and enact what you find in the management summaries, because it does tell so much about how the store is doing, and then as a manager, how you're managing the asset. And owners like it when managers can and bring the income up and do better at the store. So start by reducing the number of discounts. That's how you fix this, because all that money is just being flushed down the drain. Because it would be better for you to give free time to customers as opposed to discounting the rental rate. It's just easier. And I know that some of you think, oh gosh, why do people do the 1 month or free and then, the next month's the rate? Because it works. Even if, like, that's why Public Storage does a $1 move-in. Get them in at a low cost, and then you're right up to the rate they want to be. And also the beauty of that is that people that are moving have the truck cost and all these other costs. So they realize that, like, wow, if we can get them in with this $1 deal, then they certainly can do well, as far as keeping the price up to where we want it when they move on. So, and people sometimes think that they're just going to leave it a short period of time, and it's tends to be sometimes threefold of what they think that they're going to be in there, because it's a hassle to get it out, and they don't know where to put it, and it's convenient. So there's a lot of we don't have as many move outs as we think and they think, which is awesome, really. So if you want to improve the income, you need to make rental rate increases at least yearly, or when you get to a high occupancy in a particular size. Expenses continue to rise, and we should make rental increases regularly and make them expected by our customers. And customers will understand that, especially when you do make improvements at the property or in the office. The longer you wait to raise rents, the more trouble customers have with the rent raises. So it doesn't seem very logical sometimes, but it is true. It is absolutely true. So think about your standard rate versus your rental rate. This is another thing that makes me wonder, because the standard rate should be the rates that you want for the size space, and the actual rent rate should be maybe higher or lower, the actual rent. But I raise standard rates when I'm raising the customer's rents also. And I know that some people don't do that, and I know some management companies that don't do that because they feel like, oh well, it's we're really not raising, we're just raising their rate. We're not raising the standard rate we're charging for new customers. But if you're charging that rate for the customer, I like to see that, because then I know that the standard rate is now higher and this customer's at a different price. It's really important to watch that economic occupancy and the actual occupancy. So those are things that are going to really influence where and how you raise rents. So keep that in mind. All of the things that we've been talking about in this webinar are just talking about managing by the numbers. And when you learn as a manager and a supervisor that the important part is the income of the store and not the occupancy, then you're going to be really doing a much better job of managing the storage asset. And that's what this is all about. So thank you so much for watching today. Again, my name is Carol Mixon from SkillCheck, and if you would please subscribe to me, I'd really appreciate that. I don't think I'll ever catch up with my son and what he does online, but I would like to try to do that. And he said, Mom, you need some K's behind the views. And it's true, I do. But if you need to get a hold of me, it's carol@skillcheck.com. And thank you so much for listening. And if you have any ideas, send them in, because I'd love to have, and I'll give you even credit for what a great topic. Thanks so much. And thank you for listening. Bye.